What's up, guys? It's the Mago301 here with another Smash Bracket reaction. Today we're reacting to Pit vs. Samus. Oh man, this is one I've been looking forward to. Not for the actual matchup itself, admittedly, but because a matchup I really want is kind of riding on this one. But yes, let's get into it, even though I already started. Enough talking.
And placing them all in a giant animated tournament. Today we're looking at Pit, the guardian angel of Icarus, versus Samus from Metroid. I asked for your thoughts in anticipation for this episode, and have honestly been blown away by the general positivity and welcoming response to this matchup. I'm super proud of it and excited to show it to you, and I know we can't please everybody, but this is the kind of response that makes me feel all fuzzy in the versus community.
What is...
Weirdest matchups known to man. I'm sorry, but the choices of matchups are so... They need to work on how they present information. Bro, what are these matchups? Smash bracket moment. All right, no. You know what? I take back everything I just said. I can please everyone. That's a healthy mentality. I've done it before and I can do it again. This is a cool matchup, I promise. You want drama? I'll give you drama.
You good?
You want connections? Oh boy, do I have connections. You want romance? I've got that. Okay, we're gonna have to wait and see on that one. But kick back, relax, and let's find out who's gonna win between Samus Aran and Pit. This one's for you, Jason. In order to explain this, though, we've got to set up our fighters. Starting right off with Samus Aran. It's hard to think of a more iconic female hero in gaming, and it's even harder to think of a more capable one. We're talking about somebody who's wiped out hordes of enemies in the coolest possible way just because it's the right thing to do. Somebody who, despite their traumatic past, never hesitates to look their deepest fears straight in the eyes
make sure I have the highest quality
crap out of them with rockets. We're talking about the kind of warrior who's sent in to secure entire planets by herself when the entire Galactic Federation was incapable of handling it. We're talking about Samus Aran.
I can't remember if
Now, despite the imposing power she displays in her games, Samus wasn't always like this. She was raised on a remote, peaceful planet called K2L, along with her parents and pet rabbit squirrel Pyonki. Together, they mined rare crystals called Floraltite and kept watch over the planet on behalf of the Galactic Federation. Everything was perfect. Until the planet was ransacked by a group of space pirates led by potentially the most evil Nintendo character in all of existence. A ruthless, draconic space pirate named Ridley.
He was just trolling a bit.
That Floraltite for himself, but rather than ask for it, he did the next best thing. He ordered his army to rip every resident of the planet apart limb by limb.
Hey, rip and tear until it's done.
Now, remember, this was
a peaceful mining planet
full of scientists.
Nothing wrong with that.
Against an army of seasoned space terrorists. It was an absolute massacre. But in spite of this disaster, one 3-year-old toddler named Samus believed that this could all still be settled with peace. She told Ridley that despite his appearances and despite his actions, they could still be friends and she didn't need to be scared of him. Ridley returned the sentiment by attempting to slaughter her on the spot, but at the last second, Samus's mother pushed her out of the way and was reduced to a charred corpse right in front of her own daughter. This sacrifice was accompanied by a distraction from Samus's father, who exploded the planet's entire supply of a Floraltite, killing himself in the process. The diversion worked though, and Ridley spared Samus, leaving the planet in a fit of rage, but not before devouring Samus's mother to heal his wounds with her flesh. Just like that, everybody that Samus loved was gone.
When is that joke going to run its
course? She was the only survivor on a planet now littered with corpses of the past. Men, women, and children that she knew her whole life, now gone. And she was absolutely
but not just the men, but the women and children too.
Fortunately for Samus though, this attack was noticed by a benevolent bird-like alien race called Chozo. The Chozo adopted Samus and brought her to their homeworld of Zebes. Unfortunately for Samus, this planet was also totally inhospitable for humans, and they didn't think that she'd last more than a few days. But fortunately for Samus, these aliens were some of the most technologically advanced in the universe, and they solved this little problem by infusing her DNA with that of the Chozo who found her.
As you do.
And they also mixed in a splash of DNA from the Chozo's greatest warrior, Ravenbeak, for good measure. They wanted to ensure that Samus would never have to feel that kind of helplessness that she felt on K2L ever again. So they trained her to become a true warrior, unlike the galaxy had ever seen, which was made even easier by an unexpected side effect of the Chozo DNA. Samus found that she had enhanced agility, speed, strength, reflexes, and durability. The whole super soldier cocktail, with one added twist. The Chozo also possess a limited amount of psionic ability to see into the future. This ability passed down to Samus in a limited capacity, allowing her a spider sense-like awareness of attacks before they come, letting her get
So
in
she has
an easy
precognition.
counterstrike. To accompany this, she was also given a highly advanced Chozo power suit to augment her physicality even more, and grant her access to powerful weapons. Not only is this thing powerful, but it's also controlled by her thoughts and can be summoned to her body at will. By the time that she was 14, she'd pushed far beyond what any human should have ever been capable of. After over a decade of trauma, Samus finally had the chance to find the people who stole her family and get revenge. And this revenge was made possible by the massively powerful weapons her base suit came equipped with. Her arm cannon could fire missiles, which by themselves are powerful enough to blow up giant monsters like this. And this damage is rivaled by her suit's bombs, which can destroy stone in its regular form, and with her power bomb, she can clear entire rooms of debris. What stands apart from both of them, though, is her standard arm cannon. This thing can rapid fire shots 3 at a time that go through solid objects, and she can fire nearly 100 of these shots per second. For true firepower, though, Samus can charge her cannon for a massive blast of plasma energy.
On that.
Just by itself, this shot was able to damage enemies that even her super missiles or power bombs couldn't even scratch, such as when she had to fight a perfect clone of herself at her max power. But Samus can push this power even further with good technique. By hopping over an enemy and shooting them point blank in the face, Samus can use Overblast and increase her beam's damage by a factor of 7. And she can exceed this power even further with Lethal Strike, which uses a specially focused blast on a downed enemy that's capable of instantly killing just about everything that Samus comes across. Ultimately, these tools gave her the power that she needed to track down and take out the space pirates. Unfortunately for her, by the time she found the space pirates, it was too late. They had invaded her new home planet of Zebes, and it wasn't long before Samus came face to face once more with Ridley.
Remember me?
Alongside all of the carnage now strewn around Zebes, brought back all of the memories of the K2L massacre. The fear and trauma was so painful that she begged her comrades to kill her on the spot, ending things once and for all. But through this pain, there was a voice of reason that got through to her. Grey Voice, the Chozo that had saved Samus back on K2L. He implored her to use her pain as a motivation to help those across the galaxy from ever feeling the way that she did right at that moment. And then Ridley stabbed him through the throat and burned him to a crisp right in front of her.
As you do.
Had an epic showdown in which Samus was finally able to beat the nightmare of her childhood for like the first time out of 8. And although the memories of his evil would haunt her forever, in the wake of this victory, Grey Voice's final words rang in her mind. She would use this pain and fear as fuel to protect the universe from suffering. Wherever there was someone who needed her help in the galaxy, she would be there to save them, no matter the cost. So she composed herself, hopped in her gunship, and set off to become the greatest bounty hunter to ever live. Samus sees herself as somewhat of a mama bear of the galaxy, being there to protect it wherever she's needed and go after anyone who puts it in danger. And to achieve this goal, she has decked herself the crap out with weapons, armors, and abilities like the world has never seen.
Do I make the obvious mom joke here, or am I better than that? Have I already stooped to the level just by referencing it? I don't know.
That she could use to set her enemies on fire in an explosion of light, freeze them indefinitely inside of a life-draining dark energy, or combine these light and dark energies to create the Annihilator Beam, which can fire disruptive homing shots to stun her enemies. And she can mix any of these beams with her missiles to fire devastating charge combo attacks. The two most relevant of these are the Sonic Boom, which bombards her enemy by tearing open a hole in space-time on top of them, or the Dark Burst, which tears open a portal to an alternate dimension and pulls the enemies through it, removing them from battle entirely.
Okay, so that would qualify as a win on the Smackback attempts.
Samus can use her admittedly very weird ability called Concentration to raise her blaster in the air for a few seconds. Doing so fully restocks her missile supply and heals her back to full health, just by raising her arm in the air for some reason. And that's not all her blaster can do. While fighting other deadly bounty hunters, Samus gained the ability to shoot balls of magma, deadly light speed lasers, stun guns with terawatts of voltage, and super cooled plasma that approaches temperatures of absolute zero. And all of these abilities are only made easier to land with that premonition I mentioned earlier. Her counter can let her know when an enemy is about to attack a short while before it launches, and she can use this window to knock their attacks out of the way and blast them with a weapon. Or she could use her ability called Sense Move, which grants her intangibility while she dodges. And it also allows her to instantly fire a charge shot with none of the charging but all of the power. With the effective use of this Sense Move ability, Samus can achieve near constant intangibility while firing her most lethal attacks. Not only can she do this in her power suit, but she can also pull off the same maneuver in her Zero suit, using nothing more than her physicality and a stun gun capable of shattering stone. But speaking of that power suit, we should talk about some of the other ways that she's upgraded herself over the years. She has had a lot of armor upgrades, and I'm going to throw them all in the sidebar right now for you. But the most relevant ones here are extreme resistant to heat, cold, acid, and viruses, and a 75% reduction of all damage she takes. The suit also provides her a 30% speed boost, which she can use to launch herself through the air like a human missile with her Shine Spark ability. These suits are also really good at
If Pit doesn't get charge tackled at least once, I'm going to be disappointed.
A powerful material called Ion. To give her access to powerful abilities like an armor made out of lightning, the ability to turn invisible, the power to shift through attacks at high speed, or the ability to slow time by 50% for everybody but herself. And rather than having this ion energy be a one and done scenario, her body began producing it organically, allowing herself near constant access to this power. All of these abilities would be deadly on their own, but Samus has trained her body to superhuman levels in order to best serve and protect the galaxy.
Yeah, superhuman. I think this is a little past superhuman at this point,
which takes place just
like
before
I'm just
in this story. Samus unwillingly takes on a human sidekick named Joey. And whether you want to call it overambition or stupidity, Joey was really good at getting them into trouble.
Wait, what did I just miss?
Like when they got blasted by this giant explosion that could be seen from space. But true to form, Samus basically just shrugged it off. And this other time, Joey got taken hostage and a bad guy had a gun pointed to his head. Rather than negotiate, Samus dared him to fire.
We don't negotiate with terrorists.
To leave the barrel and reach Joey's head from like an inch away, Samus blitzed forward and grabbed the bullet out of the air while shooting the enemy through the chest. And that isn't even as impressive as this one time that Samus decided she needed to chart an entire supercluster of 5 galaxies. And rather than asking for a map, she did the next best thing. Fly to every single planet in all 5 galaxies one by one. And she didn't have any autopilot to help her out here. This was all the intergalactic equivalent of stick shift.
Pit might be fucked.
While in a race with another ship, she pulled a hidden lever to make her ship go even faster than it's ever gone before. And while this was happening, the guy was being a real nuisance. So Samus decided she needed to take matters into her own hands. She left the wheel, ran to the back of her ship, popped out of the top of it, and fired a shot to destroy the enemy ship, all while moving fast enough to not lose control of her ship. Now, I know that this is like drinking from a fire hose of information. There has been a lot of Metroid content over the years. But it all comes together to form the single most skilled warrior in the Metroid universe.
Ink, we appreciate you. We appreciate the work you do.
100 highly skilled soldiers all trying to gun her down at once.
So
and one whose name alone strikes fear into the hearts of criminals across the galaxy. And all of this is done in spite of the pain and fear in her life, and in spite of the
she got over it. She got better.
That taunted her for her entire existence. All Samus wants to do is protect people. Every last bit of strength.
I'm not gonna sip. I will not.
So, are you sold yet, Jason? Did you hear the list of abilities? I'd call that animation potential. You hear the soundtrack? I call that music potential. And who could possibly make for a good connection for someone like this? How about someone whose game was developed by the same team as Metroid, a game that ran off of the exact same engine as Metroid, and heck, a game that has Metroids, well, kind of, all led by an incredibly powerful warrior who travels through space and fights space pirates out of a desire to protect humanity and serve a higher purpose. That's right. Today I'm talking about everybody's favorite illiterate Icarus.
I love how he's being introduced with like
I've asked a friend of the channel and fan of Kid Icarus, Raccoon Bro, to
Oh.
help break it all down.
Oh, hey.
Side note, go check out his channel. It's full of some really fun versus community content. It's in the description below.
I watch his channel.
Take it away.
Thanks, Ink. Glad to be here. Especially since I get to talk about a character from my favorite video game with donkey butt controls.
When am I going to get to read out an analysis, Ink?
Warrior who wants to protect
when's that going to happen?
It comes to the same goal from a different angle.
Is it because I don't have enough subscribers, which you should totally subscribe to me?
Long, long ago, gods and men lived together in peace. Much of this harmony happened in the peaceful kingdom of Angel Land, which was ruled by 2 beautiful goddesses, Palutena, the goddess of light, and Medusa, the goddess of darkness. Now, I'm going to let you take a wild guess at which one of them turned evil and tried to destroy humanity. While Palutena loved humanity and blessed them with clear skies and delicious food, Medusa thought humanity sucked. So she destroyed their crops and turned everyone into statues.
As you do.
Oh, so that's why people want Palutena to fight Celestia. Well, it turns out that Palutena didn't care much for her people getting stoned, and retaliated by cursing Medusa. She turned her into a snake monster and banished her to the underworld. Now, I'm not an expert or anything, but banishing to the underworld sounds a whole lot like a flowery way of saying she just killed the crap out of her.
Yeah.
But regardless, something about being turned into a monster and getting sent to hell didn't sit right with Medusa, and fortunately for her, Palutena just sent her to a realm full of disposable, monstrous, undead soldiers.
Yeah, didn't really
she
appreciate
began
that.
building an army of underworld soldiers
As
and
you
launched
do.
a full-scale counter-assault on Angel Land. The sheer size of this army turned the attack into a one-sided massacre. Palutena's army was totally destroyed, being either murdered or turned to stone. Left without anyone to defend her, Palutena was taken captive and imprisoned by Medusa's forces. In the wake of this tragedy, Palutena was left with only one hope: a young angel who was able to avoid the conflict, named Pit. She telepathically reached out to him and asked for his help to single-handedly try to take down an army that just wiped out everyone Pit knew and loved. Sheesh,
Hey, can you
no
take down an army that
pressure.
just took down
He
my
had
army?
no allies. He had no wings. He barely had any weapons. But Pit still found the hope within himself to fight. Enemy by enemy, Pit cut his way through the underworld. He quickly proved himself to be somewhat of a one-man army as he easily tore through the ranks of Medusa's army of darkness. He wasn't just stuck with his bow for the entire time, though.
All
He
right,
also
Pit,
picked up a
I
few
believe
items
in
along
you.
the way to aid him in his journey. One of the most useful was a bottle of angelic water that automatically prevents Pit from dying if he takes a lethal blow. And by using a special barrel,
Allows
he can carry
Pit to
8 of
enter
these at a
into debt.
time. He also made
Ah.
sure to get a credit card to use on the black market, which is random, but alright. And he picked up some special one-use mallets to deal massive damage to his enemies. And he never needs to worry about running out of these things either, because of the deadliest weapon in his early arsenal, a harp. Not just any harp, though. Just by touching this thing, Pit can transform every enemy near him into a
Man, I
hammer,
can't wait for Samus to
instantly
be turned
killing
into
them
a
and
mallet.
adding them to his arsenal of weapons like some holy General Grievous. But it was going to take more than arrows, hammers, and credit cards to beat the goddess
That's
of
a
darkness.
profile pic
So
right
Pit
there.
sought out a legendary set of weapons called the Three Sacred Treasures. These were legendary for a reason. Heck, they were so useful that just by wielding them, Pit took on the name Amazing Pit. How sweet the sound.
Very,
These treasures
humble.
consisted of a bow that could shoot arrows of pure energy that travel at the speed of light, a mirror shield and silver armor that reflect projectiles and reduces damage taken by 50% respectively, and finally the wings of Pegasus that grant the bearer unlimited flight. With these powers, Pit was able to fight his way through endless evils, slay the goddess of darkness, and rescue Palutena, who thanks Pit in a few different ways depending on how well you did during the game. Now, in the worst ending, she thanks Pit by, oh god, transforming him into a hideous monster and sending him away? Okay, old habits die hard, I
That's,
guess. But in the best ending, she turns him into a buff, hunky man and kisses him?
Hey, yo.
I'm just gonna go ahead and pretend that one isn't canon. Holy crap, just give the kid a Lunchable or something. But maybe this hunkiness was worth the cursed cutscene. Pit is physically powerful enough to turn boulders to dust with a single strike, destroy giant space pirate battleships, and most impressively of all, he's strong enough to shatter the fourth wall. And to those who haven't seen my videos, believe me when I say fourth wall breakers are really annoying to deal with. As for this fourth wall breaker, he's cursed his balanced gameplay,
Wait.
directly referenced his time in Super Smash Brothers, which is confusing for our purposes today to say the least. And he's even commented on how one of his enemies looked just like a Metroid. Funny how time travel works. But this adventure set off a long servitude / mother-son / big sister little brother / whatever Twilight and Celestia are relationship for Pit and Palutena. He became the official captain of her Centurion army and was always at her beck and call if she ever needed his help. Every time Palutena and Angel Land were in danger, Pit was right there to help. Whether it was as big as fighting off a demon so evil that just saying his name turned people to stone,
Okay, that-
or as simple as helping Palutena out with a grocery run. As time went on, Pit's power, along with Palutena's faith in him, grew more and more. She blessed him with special powers to carry into combat, and while he's technically drawing this power from an outside source, that power is such a vital part of his moveset that not allowing them on a technicality would be a disservice to the character. There's a clear difference between allowing a character to have his most iconic
imagine
powers
Palutena
versus
is, like,
something like
watching
calling
this, and
Palutena herself
Palutena's
into
just
battle.
watching her-
Whether
her
these powers are being
Pit
granted
die.
by Palutena or when they were temporarily primarily granted by the goddess of nature Viridi, aka Starfire. That one's for you, Steve. Pit is able to masterfully use these to become a serious threat. The most iconic is his power of flight, which allows Pit to fly freely without the aid of his Pegasus wings for up to 5 minutes. Should Pit try to push beyond this time limit, his wings will be burned up, causing potentially fatal injuries.
It's fine, but wait, this isn't a death battle animation. We're actually going to get an animation in over 5 minutes. Oh no, Pit, you're in trouble!
Meteors, and can even create pseudo-black holes. When Pit had a run-in with a magical mirror of truth, rather than using it to turn one ice cream sundae into 2 ice cream sundaes like he had planned, he accidentally duplicated himself to create a dark counterpart of himself called Dark Pit, whom Pit affectionately called Patu. While he originally was an adversary to Pit, as time passed, they grew a tentative friendship and became valuable training partners for each other. As a result, Pit became a master of combat and specializes in 9 different types of weapons. And these aren't your run-of-the-mill weapons for mere mortals. These are crafted by and imbued with the power of gods. As such, each weapon has both close-range combat and long-range projectile capabilities. Pit's signature bows allow him to shoot blasts of magical energy, which he can split into twin swords for melee combat and summon down a storm of arrows. Blades can slice things up and be fired like a machine gun. Cannons are like magical grenade launchers that fire massive concussive blasts, while orbiters hover around Pit's shoulders to provide him cover. Pit also has a variety of weapons that specialize in close-range combat, such as clubs, claws, arm cannons, and magical tattoos called palms that use Pit's unlimited life energy to fire blasts of magic energy. If Pit finds himself at long range, his staffs function as a sort of magic sniper rifle. Using his most powerful weapons, Pit had enough damage output to defeat Patu in a single shot, who was his exact clone. But Pit's mastery with these weapons aren't even what makes them so scary. He can increase his power with weapon modifiers and equip powers for extra versatility. These allow him to turn his targets to stone, reduce his opponent's max health by 50%, automatically target an enemy's weak point, transform them into a tempura fried shrimp and an eggplant, or just straight up instantly kill his opponents upon impact. Okay, yeah, that last one wasn't nearly as creative. He just literally killed that guy. These abilities can also enhance his movement. They allow him to increase his speed, automatically dodge incoming attacks, or more effectively navigate around an enemy by blinding them. If that still proves insufficient, Pit can become invincible for 16 seconds, automatically counter incoming attacks, choose to heal from attacks that would otherwise kill him, turn invisible and intangible, automatically reflect incoming attacks, steal a random ability from his opponent, or feign his own death to trick his opponent and allow for a surprise attack.
I want to see that. I want to see that.
But if
Give
Pit
me that.
really needs a boost to his strength,
if that's on
he can
please
call
let that be in
Great
this animation.
Sacred Treasures, which is essentially
like
a
such a good
giant
fake
mech
out.
suit that grants Pit access to deadly tornadoes, flames, laser beams, and a giant laser sword? Oh, it's so anime. With the strength of this suit, Pit can match the strength of gods with blows so powerful that the shockwaves alone can shatter a small mountain range. But Pit is impressive even without his suit. Just on his own, he's fast enough to fly to space in a short amount of time, and he was able to steer the legendary lightning chariot as it moved 3 times the speed of light. While he's not making any crazy huge arm movements here, even just the minimal adjustment he makes while flying requires him to move around 700 times the speed of sound. And if speed wasn't enough for you, he's also so durable that when this chariot slammed into a barrier at its max speeds, Pit was totally fine afterwards. All this strength and all these abilities came together to allow Pit
I feel like the only thing keeping Pit in the fight here is his hacks.
But these things aren't what make Pit such an incredible fighter, though. Pit gives each battle he approaches
please, I
maximum
want
effort
Pit
and
versus
devotion.
Link to
He has
happen
complete
round
and
2. It's
total
my
trust in
dream
Lady
matchup,
Palutena,
please.
Enthusiasm to battle for her
Pit,
name,
you gotta
willing to
win.
face down overwhelming evil with optimism and a dauntless battle cry. He's able to keep up hope and faith even in the most dire of situations. Whether he's fighting against an opposing army, literal gods, or even a good-hearted space bounty hunter, Pit is sure to give the battle everything he's got with an arrow in his quiver and a smile on his face. Not bad for a guy who can't read.
Underling of Medusa floating before me! It's time for you to atone for your crimes! I am Pit, servant of the goddess of light! And you are mystery!
That is anime.
What was that all about?
Well, I'd best be headed home. Hopefully Nate and Deadpool haven't burned down the place by now. Thanks for having me, and here's to a fair fight. Back to you, Rick.
All right, I've looked over everything it takes to make a good matchup. I've even enlisted outside help. We've got animation potential, check. Crossover material, check. Music potential, check. A debatable matchup, check. Analysis potential, check. Connection between the fighters, check. I've done it. We have created the perfect
Ink.
versus matchup. And
You've
you
done
know
it.
what, Jason? If this didn't do it for you, I don't know what to say. That said, all of this potential is wasted if we can't successfully stick the landing. So without further ado, let's get into the fight and find out
Make
who
sure
will win
one last
and
time it's
advance on to the
recording
next round
properly,
of
and
Smash
yes,
Bros.
we are good to go. So let's get into this fight, and Pink, bring home the W, Pit. Did I say Link? What am I at? Whatever. Okay, Dark Samus. Hello. Pichu? Ness? Who's that? Oh, Not the Pokemon! Is just an arrow going to come out of nowhere and just snipe Dark Samus in the head? Oh. Dark Pit. Oh. I mean, it wasn't fully wrong. Oh, Dark Pit versus Dark Samus. That's the setup for this.
Oh, it's Samus. What a surprise. Your armor looks so good in the dust clouds. Hey, is that a new cannon?
You can exchange numbers after the fight, Casanova.
Right. Samus Aran, in the name of Lady Palutena, I, Pit, servant of the goddess and protector of all that is good. Well, I guess not all that is good. I can't stand vegetables, and Lady Palutena says those are good for me, but Pitu just says that's Big Veggie trying to spread its propaganda, so I think
Big
it's up to
Veggie?
interpretation. In any case, I, Pit, challenge you to a fight. Oh, hey, oh, wait. Pitu has that taken care of. I'm your opponent, remember?
3.
Brady? I don't think she's listening.
2.
Maybe I can fight someone else from Metroid.
1.
Is Ridley taken yet?
Keep trying, Pit.
Oh.
If nothing else, you'll probably annoy her into fighting.
Pit's about to get his ass beaten, so Ridley doesn't beat his ass, apparently. Samus, I hate to tell you, Link already killed Ridley. You're good on that aspect. Alright, let's go! Let's see who wins.
You missed? Maybe you should have warmed up first.
Alrighty then, let's turn up the heat.
Okay, we're going to cave now.
It's too cramped, I can't fly in here.
She's narrowing down your options.
Is that
But you
Phazon?
should be alright as long as you don't lose sight of her.
He lost sight of her. Yeah, I want Pit to win, but I don't think he has this. I think the speed's just too much, but like his hacks may be good, good enough.
This is over. Go home.
No, it's not. As long as people are counting on me, as long as I still breathe,
I don't see either of them
I
killing
won't
each other.
give up. I won't give up!
Alright, Pit. You with the determination, I respect it.
Brady, I need the sacred treasures.
Are you crazy? Get out of there while you still can!
I'm not running, and that won't keep her down long. This is our only shot.
The sacred treasures already?
Are damaged, and we already used the power of flight. If the Pegasus...
I know what will happen, but they will hold out. They have to.
This is so cool. I love the damage on
You
Pit.
need to stop flying.
No! Palutena's counting on me. I can do this.
Oh, the charge tackle. Oh, he just pulled out a... Okay, mech versus mech suit now, I guess. Oh, I guess armor, I guess?
Now, this is over. Please give up.
that's a problem. Also, Samus can withstand her weapons, Pit can't, so... Armor is gone, though. Where are the sacred treasures? Fake death! Fake death! Fake death!
It's gonna be alright, Pit. You did your best.
Or not?
Oh, I love that animation so
No.
much. Big thanks to Cheetomon YT for helping us throw this together, and to Air Caves on the writing team for this being their first full script they wrote by themselves. Now, on the community tab, this was a pretty clear-cut vote for Samus, and while she did take it in the end, I'm not exaggerating when I say that this fight caused the single most back-and-forth debate that we've ever had as a research team.
Yeah, I
what
just
it
thought that
ultimately
speed
came down
was too
to was
much.
a battle of stats versus abilities. Samus
Yeah.
took the advantage over Pit in most every single stat category, although who has the higher degree of combat intelligence is debatable. That said, while Samus was a powerhouse with a decent amount of versatility, Pit had some less power and speed, but had far deadlier options at his disposal. Samus was able to dish out and take a serious hit, whether that's blowing up enemies or surviving a nuclear explosion, and her durability was high enough that even when one-shotting an exact clone of himself, Pit would never be able to hurt her through conventional means. That said, he didn't really have to hurt her to win. If we assume that he led with an optimal winning strategy, all Pit would really need to do is hit her a single time with an instant kill ability or transmutation ability. That would basically guarantee him a win every single time a shot connected. But all Samus needed to do was hit him twice for each life that his revives gave him, or just shoot him once ever with the Dark Burst to remove him from the battle. And this dynamic is made all the more dangerous for Pit when Samus can combine her lethal charge shots with the ability to shoot them rapid fire while maintaining near constant intangibility. While Pit's arrows traveling at light speed would be incredibly hard to deal with, the speed at which he could maneuver his body around to fire those arrows was considerably lower, at 700 times the speed of sound.
I was even saying it like this number is speed is too high.
It also pales in comparison to the speeds that we see Samus pulling when she jumped out of that ship at her maximum speed for a surprise attack. In order to run to the back of the ship and still have time to fire, she would need to be running nearly 22,000 times the speed of sound. And when this is given a 30% speed increase from her Varia suit, and access to a 50% time slowdown, that gave Samus an effective combat speed of nearly 57,000 times the speed of sound. That is more than enough to reliably dodge the aim of Pit's weapons. But even if it wasn't, we should take into account Samus's countersense. On average, this gives her around a third of a second's notice before an attack is fired. Pit can shoot his arrows about 90 meters, but in that third of a second, Samus would be able to blitz over 4,000 miles, which that's more than 90 meters. Now, Pit does have some options to mitigate this risk, such as abilities that allow him to automatically dodge attacks or use otherwise lethal damage to heal instead of dying. But as we said, if he was proving difficult to take out, Samus always just had the option of using her Dark Burst to pull him from battle and stick him in another dimension. That didn't mean that there was no risk.
He's going to Brazil!
Like I said, we kept going back and forth as a team because all it would take is one single attack or one single touch of his heart to force Samus to spend the rest of her life as a mallet or a tempura shrimp. And Pit had 8 extra lives on top of that to formulate the strategy. So it all came down to whether or not he'd be able to land an attack against someone who's so much faster than him and knows when his attacks are coming and specializes in avoiding attacks and launching a counterattack of her own at the same time. Now, depending on what strategy the fighters open with, this is a fight that could honestly go either way. But with Samus's overwhelming stats, we believe that she'd be able to get past Pit's options more often than not and take him out of the fight. So at the end of the day, Samus Aran is the winner and will be moving on to the next round of the Smash Bracket.
That's not surprising.
Next time on the Smash
Bracket.
Next?
Who's next? Oh, Villager! It's Villager versus... I can't remember who he's fighting. Isn't it one of the... Oh, it's Steve. Or I guess Alex in this case? Yep, Alex. Alright! Well, that was a great battle as always. Really good battle. Really good battle. Not my favorite. Not my favorite. That still definitely goes to Link versus Ridley. I feel like... Phenomenal job on the animation. Phenomenal job. Phenomenal job. I think my one criticism was like I don't know. I just feel like they're like projectiles are moving too slow sometimes, if that makes sense. Like Ink, it was explained multiple times in the analysis how that their weapons were like so fast, could cover this much movement in like so little speed, but like I don't know. I guess I kind of just expected like a bullet hell kind of thing, and just I don't know. We usually got like 3 or 5 projectiles at once, all traveling at moderate speed. It just kind of took away from the impact. I still enjoyed the episode overall, but that was just like the one little thing I noticed. But amazing episode. We'll be looking forward to the next one as usual. Remember to like, comment, subscribe to this video, and like, comment, subscribe to the original video as well. Smash Bracket, like, phenomenal job. I absolutely love their content. But yeah, that's all I have to say. The original video will be in the description. Go show them support. And thank you for watching, everyone. See you next time!